Hello, world, and welcome to another installment of the United Hour. I am President Chad, and in the house with me, we got a man like Tonio, Mr. Tell It As It Is. We got
What's up,
Greg
bro? What's up,
B
bro?
in the inside, and the
What
man
up, what
down
up, what
there
up?
in Miami, Devin. How you gentlemen doing this evening?
Hi, good afternoon. Not
Fair to
bad.
find, yeah.
Well, let's say it as it is, you know. Manchester United has the biggest game of the season
Facts.
tomorrow, please God, because it is our only. We need to be playing European football, and we need to be getting into the next round. So this is like a cup final because all we need to do is win the game.
Hmm.
We win the game, we go through. You
Yes.
know. So Tonio, talk to us about the press conference this morning. What did Ralph have to say?
Well, Ralph was in his usual he was in his usual honest mood today. The reporters were posing him a lot of different questions. He was mainly asked about the team and who would be available, and surprisingly, everybody is available for tomorrow, even Bruno. He did say there was a question mark over Luke Shaw simply because he only trained twice with the team. So if he would be ready for the game, he may not be sure, but he is definitely available for selection. He was asked if Cristiano Ronaldo would start tomorrow also. And he basically said Cristiano continues to be a great professional, and after every game he does the necessary. And if he can play a 90 tomorrow, he definitely has a chance to. Um, he also spoke about Bruno bring back. He said that Bruno did not get a false negative yesterday. He actually just tested negatively, so he was able to train with the team. So he's also available for selection. He was asked also about what are our realistic chances of getting a top four spot through the league or through the Champions League, and he basically said we at Manchester United, we're going to take every single game, each game at a time. Tomorrow is a big game, and that's the game we are looking towards, and that's what's on the table at the moment, and that's what we're going to put our best foot forward to. He said, we have Leicester next. We're going to put the same best foot forward and try to win the game because we basically can't afford to lose any more of our remaining fixtures. We are fully well aware of that. And he had Alex Telles there with him also, and he was also posed a couple of questions. He was asked how does Cristiano's impact on the team, when he plays or how he plays or the type of player that he is. And he basically said he's a big character in the dressing room. When you play with him, you want to raise your levels, you want to be better. And it was a bit tough for him today in the sense that he clearly doesn't speak. He doesn't speak English very well, so he had his little translator in his ear and whatnot. But he basically said that the team is in good spirits and they're gonna continue fighting. He was also asked on his competition for his left back role with Luke Shaw. He said that he has a lot of respect for Luke, which is it's admirable to say. He said his first year was tough, but coming into his second year, he got to play a lot more and he's gelling into the team and that he is here to help. So basic Ralph press conference. He was asked straight questions and he gave straight answers.
Yeah, well, that's great. This we dealing with the press conference, and then we're going to be talking about the teams, Manchester United, their preparation. We're going to be talking about Atleti, what have they done between the time they played us till now, how did they fare in the Spanish league. But before we jump into that, I just want to get an idea from you, Greg B and Devin. What are your thoughts on the press conference? Feel a sense of confidence coming out of it. How do you feel about it?
So yeah, I definitely feel very confident about it. It's a typical Ralph press conference. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. The press did try to throw out a couple of snowball questions. You know how they always do that, trying to create some headline out of that. And he answered it. He answered very truthful. Didn't give them too much. One thing that I did notice at one part was when he was asked about if he was going to make a lot of changes with Bruno coming in, and he said that he really didn't think they need to swap out that many players because they had a decent performance in the last match. So to me, that tells me that we really won't see that many changes. maybe like 2 or 3 is what I'm thinking. But that kind of hints to me that we already know what formation they're going to play. So we shall see.
I mean, if it's one thing we all know about Ralph is that he's always been a straight shooter whenever he comes to his press conferences. He's not the kind of person to mix his words. He will let you know, hey, XYZ is the case. So this is this is what's going to transpire. Um, like Devin said, he's not necessarily going to change up anything. But then again, some managers will tell you that, but at the same time, they'll have something in the back of their mind where, like, all right, I may have to make an adjustment here and there depending on the opposition. Ralph is the kind of person, he will tell you certain things, but he won't give away as much. So it's a balanced way. And given what the way that everything has come across, I'm cautiously optimistic because I believe that this team is capable of doing something. This team is capable of getting a victory, getting a result against Atletico Madrid at Old Trafford. But at the same time, it depends on the personnel and their performances because sometimes that can be the biggest downfall. One mistake and everything could just go horribly wrong. But I believe Ralph has the belief and the confidence in the players that he will be willing to put out there. And I think he would have learned his lesson from the first leg in the Wanda Metropolitan.
Yeah, for sure. So let's transition into talking about Atletico. Let's get an idea of what's going on with them. You know what I mean? So Greg B, talk to us. What's going on with Atletico Madrid?
Well, so far, since they faced us in the 1-1 draw in the first leg, they've played 3 La Liga matches against Celta Vigo, Real Betis, and Cadiz. They've won all 3. 2-0 against Celta Vigo, 3-1 against Real Betis, and 2-1 against Cadiz. They've been on fire. As of late, João Felix has been keeping up his goal scoring. So we have to remember him being a danger man. Of course, he scored the opening goal in the first leg against us. So it's a player to watch amongst many of them. So they've been keeping a positive form. Unlike ourselves, we've had our up and downs this season. The last few games have not been great for us, but keeping the focus here on Atletico Madrid, they are basically keeping same particular lineup. Most of the usual suspects that are going to be there, according to the recent reports. So far, only 4 players will be injured, and 1 is still suspended. And those 4 players are the likes of Simi Versalco, Thomas Lemar, as well as Matthias Cunha and Daniel Vaz. They're all still sidelined. And Yannick Carrasco, like I said, he still remains suspended in the meantime. But the majority of it is still a fairly a strong side. Jose Maria Jimenez, their centre-back, is still a bit of a doubt, but he did travel with the team, along with the likes of the usual suspects in João Felix, Antoine Griezmann, and Luis Suarez. So the typical danger men are there for this matchup. Of course, Oblak will be in goal for this. And they're keeping, knowing Diego Simeone, he's going to keep to the normal culture that he is accustomed playing, sitting back, looking to counter, frustrating his opposition with the way that his team sets up. They love a low block. So it remains to be seen how Ralf Rangnick counteracts that going forward into this game.
I must say, when we get to talk a little later, in a little bit, I should say, about setups, predicted lineups. I'm very interested to see what you guys, what you all think about that. But before we start talking about Manchester United and how we, who's available for us and how we may set up, let's take this in. The One Love United promotion. Here is your chance to win a signed Bruno Fernandes shirt. Yes, you heard me, a signed Bruno Fernandes shirt. To enter, just subscribe to the United Hour YouTube channel, like the most recent video on the channel, and comment. One Love United. Remember, each video you like and comment on counts as an entry. You can enter as many times as you wish. The winner will be announced on the 25th of March 2022. You must be subscribed to be eligible to win. Yes, people, don't stick on it. Jump into that One Love promotion. We have Kishon Basdio already on the inside today with his entry, One Love United. So, Devin, talk to us. What's going on in the Manchester United camp?
So this is actually it's actually good news for once. Ralph said that everybody's fit. The only one that they are not so sure about right now is Luke Shaw, if he's fully recovered yet. But this is a good problem to have now, in my opinion. Our biggest match of the season, and we have every single person fit. So it's going to be a selection dilemma for Ralph, but I would rather deal with this and have 5 and 6 players out than be forced into playing somebody that you didn't think would fit this match.
I hear that. I hear that. So I want to jump straight into lineups, and when you're talking through your lineup, you could give your own prediction on how you expect the game to go, because I believe everybody has a lineup based on a particular mode of a defense and attack in mind. So who are we gonna start off with? Let's start off with Devin's lineup. Talk to us, Devin.
So for mine, I went with a 4-3-3, and so it's usually one rule of thumb for me is when I see a player with the press conference with the manager, usually that tells me right off the bat that player is starting the match. So that took Luke Shaw out already, and that put Tellez in. I still do not understand how Harry Maguire got into that side again on the weekend, but I have him out once again. Hopefully, God willing, he is out for this match because I have Victor Lindelof and Rafael Varane in. I'm sticking Delo back in the side there. For my midfield three, I am going with Fred and also Bruno. We're gonna need that energy. Scott can be that enforcer. Fred has been playing real great lately, especially with his running around, being the one that carries the piano for the artist to play. And so I am looking for them to try and disrupt and frustrate the Atletico players, and then getting the ball out to Bruno, and Bruno laying it up top to my front three, which is going to be Alanga, Ronaldo, and Sancho. I would have Alanga on the right and Sancho on the left. That would be the only difference I would have there. All those players have been coming in. Well, Ronaldo had a good game last time. Alanga scored against Atletico last time. Don't forget. So I say give him another run out right now. And Sancho is finally proving his money's worth. And so to me, that would be the side that's needed. Paul Pogba can come off the bench, but he also did not have the best type of game against Spurs. And so it's also another way to bring fresh legs on. And if Rashford's up for it, that's somebody else we can bring in towards the end. And so it's also nice to have 5 change of this instead of the 3 from the weekend. So we can do a lot of tinkering with this side too.
All right, cool. And as we just did your lineup, what is your prediction for the game?
So I am going to predict it's going to be a low-scoring game. Atletico is going to frustrate us real bad, and they're going to try to counter us big time. If Maguire doesn't start, I can see us winning 2-0. If he does start, I think that Joao Felix or Griezmann is going to absolutely run right on him, and then it will end up as probably 2-1. So those are my scores, depending on whether or not Maguire gets in that side.
A lot of people were saying if Maguire started on the weekend, we were going to lose that game. Maguire started and we still won. But
he sure did his best effort to lose that match for us. So
Back.
Wow. You talk to us. Tell us about your team.
Well, I also went to the 4-3-3 also because I think it's a solid formation that works well for us. Obviously, David in goal. Let me speak about my defense. I'll speak about my defense last. I'll start from the top. Right. So obviously, Mr. Champions League, back in it, Mr. Champions League back in it, of course. I would have Anthony Langa on the right and Sancho on the left because I think we need the industriousness of those two. I don't think Rashford gives as much on that right-hand side than Ilanga does. And Ilanga seems to have a higher IQ. So I think he's going to do a lot more working, a lot more pressing than what Marcus would normally do. So that's my front three. In the middle, I have Scott and Fred. As we said, we know we will definitely need that energy and that disruption, as Devin said. So that's why those two are in. I put in Paul Pogba, and I'll tell you why. And these are people there are a lot of people who like to say that I am a hater of Paul Pogba. I'm not. He's a great talent that I just wish more from. But I have him in this game simply because he may not have had the best game on the weekend, But what I think that I liked about the game against Tottenham is that we were more disciplined with the ball at our feet. Our ball retention was a lot better. We weren't giving away the ball as sillily, if that's a word. When Bruno plays, we have a lot of, because he has such high ball usage, he turns over the ball a lot, and I don't think that is something that we can afford to do against Atletico. And I think that Ralph would have seen that in the game against Atletico, where Bruno was, he may have provided the assist for the goal, but what he gave away on the opposite, and I don't think that we will survive that for a second game. So I think he would probably have Paul in to play. Paul plays a little bit simpler than Bruno, so he would probably manage the ball a bit better. But that's my middle three. And then we head to the back where, well, I have Tellez on the left, as Devin said. You know, when the manager hints about a player not being 100, you naturally will put the other player in. So I have Tellez in. I have Harry Maguire, which is it's my choice, but it's not my choice, if you understand what I'm saying. I just believe this is what Ralph is going to do. So it's going to be Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, and I think the most important player in that defense tomorrow is Victor Lindelof. And the reason why I have him at the right back again is because I think Ralph played him there last game for a reason, and it's because that's an area that João Felix operates in a lot. And we saw what Victor did against João. I mean, João, he was the main man for Atleti, and it was hard to stop him. But I think Victor did a valiant job, and I think Ralph sees him as, with Dalot in there, you have, going forward, you leave a lot in behind. And I think that's something that Ralph would not want to afford going forward against Atleti. So he will probably have him there, Victor there, to have a bit of a balance, because Victor he showed that he can play the role, and he's a great passer of the ball still. So he has a better balance going forward and a better balance in defense. And of course, the big man in goal. The big man in goal.
That is two similar formations, two 4-3-3s, but two slightly different approaches. Gregory, talk us through your team.
Well, mine's going to be very, very different compared to what these guys had.
Wow.
Yeah.
I warned you, Tonio. I warned you.
I like it though. Go ahead. I like it though.
So yeah, of course, I mean, the usual suspects pick themselves. David De Gea is in the goal. I particularly decided to play a back three because I'm thinking, you're still going to need a level of physicality. Whereas the weakest link in that regard is Lindelof, but he can still advance if he needs to support going forward. I put in Matic because when we look at the last game, when he came off the bench against Atletico Madrid, you saw a bit more composure in the team. You saw a bit more calmness and confidence when it came to the passing front. So that was just something there. I mean, the only thing is just it's going to be his pace is going to be probably one of the biggest issues. And even if Lindelof does decide to go forward and venture forward and support the attack from the right side, Matic could also just slip back into the back three as an auxiliary centre back if need be. And of course, with Matic, there gives Bruno and Paul Pogba a bit more room to do more and be more creative. And not necessarily sacrificing too much defensive structure. I still have Tellez and Dalot on the right and left respectively. They can get forward and put crosses in. Obviously, while I understand where Tonio felt like Lindelof was doing a good job at right back, I felt like that formation kind of hampered the way United could have really played better. And I think this kind of counteracts the way Atletico comes forward because it floods the midfield and it leaves a lot more bodies for them to have to deal with. So with that there, like I said, Pogba has a chance to go forward on the left side, along supported by Tellez. If Tellez, if he does decide to drift out to the left like he is accustomed doing, Tellez can always just drop back and support the defense a bit. Also being a backup in case, he needs another option to pass the ball. And of course, the front three, well, you could say number 10 and a front two of Bruno Fernandes, Edinson Cavani, and Cristiano Ronaldo. We know Cavani presses from the front a lot. So you have that someone who puts the defense under a lot of pressure. And of course, he has a partner there with Ronaldo. Ronaldo, in his rich goal scoring form as it stands right now, he tends to love a goal against Atletico Madrid, especially in second legs. So
I just have one question for you, Greg, about your lineup. The midfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I said, I actually like the setup, but you know what I'm watching at? I'm looking at and I'm saying to myself, of those midfield five, how many of them are really safe on the ball? Because I'm seeing a lot of passes going awry in that midfield. Matic seems to be the only stable man who can actually dictate the play and probably won't give away the ball. But as I said, I love the lineup and I love the idea that you had. I doubt we're gonna see it, but
I know,
I like it.
but I
Yeah,
just
I
I
like
just
it.
want
I
to
like
set
it.
So
it,
I
set it to be
also was
different for
going
the
to
season.
ask about your lineup as well too. In
Uh-huh.
particular, Matic. Do
Mhm.
you think that he still has the legs to play back-to-back matches, especially with so much on the line right now too? Because
That's another thing that
that's
came to
probably
my
my
mind, but
one concern.
that's another thing that did come to my mind. But I was thinking, for the sake of knowing
He
that
can
we
give you
need
a
that,
six. He can give you a Matic can give you a firm 60 or 50. But as a
and that's
coach,
what I'm thinking.
you have to have four. You have to have foresight and forethought. So you can say to yourself, okay, leave Matic on. Hopefully, we'll get a goal or get a lead up to this point, and then I can take him off and change up the game a bit. But
Because
it all
remember, you
it's
still have
all
the
if
likes of
everything.
Fred
Yeah,
and Scott who can also come off the bench and also kind of give us the legs going down in the later matches at the parts of the game.
I
You want to
was
keep that energy
exactly,
because you want to be able to match
I
2-2 with Atletico Madrid.
See, I was actually thinking of
exactly.
Matic coming off the bench because it's also like I mentioned, we have 5 changes in this one, so we could take off one of those midfielders if we get the lead to solidify it. Come in and put a solid 30 minutes in, especially after playing at the weekend. If we have
I
the lead
understand, but
at that
like I
point,
said, I was going based on what I saw in the previous game. So, in a sense, to kind of counteract that, our issue was that we barely had a settled midfield, like really being able to control and match the possession play that Atletico had. We may not be able to do it entirely, but with Matic there, there's a bit more calmness. There's a bit more of a structure in the passing range, and like I said, with him there, it gives Paul and Bruno a bit more freedom to be creative. But I get what you guys are saying though. So I'm thinking, Matic gives us the 60 minutes. The energy comes on with Fred and Scott, and it frustrates them going forward. Once we get an early goal, I think that'll go according to the plan that I have in my mind.
All right, all right. So let's check out my team. Now, I personally would love to have started with Matic, but I don't believe Matic has the legs to play 2 games back to back. But bringing Matic off the bench to close out last 20 minutes, let's say we in charge, even if we're not in charge, even if we're running on a goal, you could still bring Matic in and he could still give you those long balls. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Fred and Scott in the middle because I think, Fred and Scott really, those are the kind of guys we need in this kind of game. To put it plainly, Fred and Scott are the kind of people we need to mesh it up. Bruno coming back in the 10.
Yeah, Paul out
Pogba,
on the wide left.
yeah, Pogba out on the
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
And you see, my thing with Paul Pogba is I have a problem with Paul Pogba losing the ball in our half of the field. I don't have a problem, people complain about Bruno Fernandes. I don't mind Bruno Fernandes trying things, because
Is
Bruno
where
Fernandes usually loses the ball in the opposition half of the field. So we have time to recover and time to get back. When you lose the ball and after you lose the ball, it's just the defenders for men to take on.
Yeah,
We
boy.
could do without that. So if Paul plays at all, he either has to play higher up the pitch or he has to be on the bench, as far as I'm concerned. Paul Pogba cannot be in the back two for me, not in this game. He needs to be high up the pitch. Bruno Fernandes back. And I mean, to me, Bruno Fernandes is one of those guys whose name is just on the team sheet. Once he's available, he is going to play. And Cristiano Ronaldo, Mr. Champions League, enough said. And the most informed player at Manchester United right now is Jadon Sancho. I want to talk a little bit about my back line. Without a doubt, Telles, Delo putting crosses in up top. But I included Harry Maguire intentionally because Harry Maguire actually had a good game against Spurs. And
yeah, he did.
Spurs set up very similarly with a back three, packed midfield, trying to play on the counter attack. They set up on practically the same way that Atleti set up, right? And Spurs we couldn't have picked a better team to play against in preparation for Atletico, right? Because,
Agreed.
and to be honest with you, Kane and Son, I consider more dangerous than Joao Felix and possibly whoever else. The
Griezmann.
next Griezmann, right? Or whoever else they're going to play. I consider those two guys more. And apart from the own goal, Harry Maguire handled the business. So I think he played, we talk about repaying people for doing well. The truth is, most of us wanted to drop Harry for the last game because he was performing badly the games before. But after coming off a decent game, I give him a blight to start this game as well.
A lot
You
of
know
people
what I
just want
mean?
him out of the team altogether.
I still want to drop Harry. I'm not gonna say that. I still want to drop Harry.
Let me tell
Yes.
you
I
something.
still want to drop Harry.
I am hoping that Manchester United goes in for three world class players in the summer. One centre
We
back,
need
a
to.
CDM, and a striker. Right? Three world class players we need to get. Right? Whether it doesn't matter who it is, but we need to get those three positions. And the reason why I want a world class centre back is not because we're going and possibly get rid of men like Jones and them kind of thing. It is because we need to create an environment that positions a door for Harry Maguire to exit on stage left.
Exit.
You
Correct.
understand? So don't get me wrong. I have Harry starting this game, and I expect him to start the game. But in no regard do I think that Harry Maguire is good enough for Manchester United. But I think he could do a job. And based on what I saw last game, I think he could do a job for us in this game. So that is my team. The other thing that I want to highlight about this team is Paul Pogba. I hope is not just going to get forward, but get forward and get into the box because we need another point, man. We kick a lot of crosses into the box, and if Cristiano Ronaldo is not on the end of it, let's say the low crosses and Cristiano goes by the penalty spot or first post, we need somebody coming in the back. And I really hope Paul Pogba makes those runs because Paul Pogba is very tall and is good enough with his head that he should be able to contribute. And so that is also why I have Paul Pogba there. It makes no sense flooding the team with people who could cross the ball and you only have one target. Because as long as that is the case, two centre backs should be able to two world class and two good and competent centre backs should be able to neutralize Cristiano Ronaldo or at least make it difficult for him. So we need somebody else there. And I don't think I want to start. We need some pace as well, hence Jadon Sancho. I don't think I want to start Cavani and Ronaldo in this game. One of the things I also like about this team is the ability to bring Anthony Lang off the bench, the ability to bring Rashford off the bench, the ability to bring Matic off the bench. Depending on what the situation is in the 60th minute, we make the necessary subs. We have good quality in those three players on the bench, whether we need a goal or whether we need to lock it down and keep it tight in Matic. You know what I mean? So that's my 11. Tony, what was your prediction?
My prediction for the game tomorrow, it's a 2-1 victory for United.
All right.
Hoping that I think, but before that, I just think that the first goal tomorrow is going to be crucial, 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 crucial,
yes.
crucial,
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
crucial. So if we get the first goal, listen to me. I think it will determine the outcome of the game because it will then force Atleti to do what? Have to come out and play. But the moment they score, I mean, you know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. So let's hope. 2-1.
And well, we got Devin's own already. What about you, Greg B? What's your scoreline for tomorrow?
I pretty much share the same sentiments as Tonio. I believe, we need to get the first goal. We need to strike first because that can be decisive with the way that game turns going forward. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's finally poised. There's no away goals. It's not like anybody could just sit back and say, all right, we could see all this game for the 90 minutes and everybody's safe. It's a matter of making sure that we get the result. So I will take a scrappy 1-0 win if we can get that. But then again, we have a history of not keeping clean sheets. So yeah, I think I have to share the same sentiments. 2-1.
My biggest challenge or my biggest fear is extra time and penalties.
Of
We
course.
need to
Of
win this
course.
game in the first
Of course.
90.
I rebuke
Of
it.
course.
I
Of
We need
rebuke
course,
it.
to
Oh.
win
of
this
I
course.
game in the
rebuke it. Oh.
first
No.
90. So for me, I am going for. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet tomorrow. I mean, even if we concede, we have enough firepower to win the game. But I think Ralph is going to have this team more compact. And I expect Atleti to do what they did last time. And the truth is, Manchester United didn't play well last time. Once we
We did
play
not.
better,
We did not.
we are going to be this team. I think we're going to be this team. So I'm looking for a 1-0. 1-0 or 2-0, actually, because once we score, Atleti is going to push up because they're going to need to. And we should have the opportunity to get another one. So I'm looking for 2-0 tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm
lead
looking
gaps.
for a
Yeah.
clean sheet. Yeah, so guys, we're looking to shut it down. Another great program. Anybody parting words?
Let me just say it like this. I think there's one thing that needs to be stressed on as regards tomorrow. So I'm going to sum it up in one word: concentration.
For
Because
sure.
that is something where the minute we switch off, Atletico
That's
Madrid,
it.
they may not be the most prolific team right now, but they still have the opportunity. One sucker punch, and that is it.
Mhm.
So everybody in that team has to be on their has to have their head pretty much on a swivel, because as soon as we go forward, it is as quickly as it could come right back our direction. So again, concentration. Anybody making runs, anybody playing a long ball over the top, anybody trying to go stay behind our defense, we have to be mindful of almost every little thing, because we get over this hurdle, it's not going to get any easier from here, because we still
Nope.
have to look at the fact that we have the likes of Real Madrid, Liverpool, who and those teams will punish us if we're not careful. So I'm optimistic that we can get something out of this, but like I said, we just need to concentrate.
For sure.
Yeah, just piggyback on what Greg said. It's absolutely and not totally 100% correct, because our focus is what kills us a lot of the times, and where teams really get in on us in the sense that they hold their focus longer than us. We will start off well, play a good 45 minutes, and then we come out in the second half, and it's just like a completely different team. And that can only be from a lack of focus. We switch on and off too often. So as I said, I like what Ralph is doing. The team just has to believe. And I mean, we are at home. We are in the best position possible to win this game tomorrow. There's absolutely no excuses. The players can't come out after the game and say, we're sorry and we're going to push forward and we don't want to hear
We
that.
ain't trying to hear
We
that.
want to come. Yeah, we want to come and see you guys leave everything out on the pitch. Win, lose, or draw. Even if you lose with respect. You know what I'm saying? And that's something we have to get back. But we're not losing tomorrow. So once you guys come out and they have their heads on, Ralph seemed very calm. The team seems like we are well prepared. So I'm looking forward to a victory tomorrow. And I really ain't about hearing anything else. Facts. Just facts.
For Shizzy Manizi. So, guys, we're looking to head out. Glory, glory, Man United. Come on, guys. Let's get at Atletico. Remember, Red Devils, we don't die. We
We
multiply.
multiply.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.